My name is Titania Galliher. The film is called Artificial Womb Baby, stylized as AW Baby. And my role is I am one of the co-writers and co-producers, and I am the director. Artificial Womb Baby is a story about a couple of parents who, in the near future, make a choice to use an innovative alternative form of prenatal care that in the time when they use it, it is not necessarily new, it is established. And they make this choice to save the pregnancy that is endangering the life of the mother. And we sort of follow some of the highlights and moments that they capture in home videos of the milestones of the pregnancy that they can later share with their child when one day their child asks them, "Where did I come from?" So that they can make that experience more relatable and keep their child from feeling different or othered by nature of having a different way of coming into the world. Yes, so it's a good seed. And all of the seed metaphors and like baby metaphors that go with this film are kind of wonderful and incredible because it's very much my baby. The seed was my co-writer came to me and said that she'd been given this prompt to create a story that showed a positive relationship with technology in the near future, because we have so many depictions in entertainment media and in just general media of a lot of ways that our relationship with technology is toxic or unhealthy or taking us in directions that are potentially compromising a lot of components of humanity. Which is not to say that technology is bad. Like, there's a lot of really great technology out there. We're using some of it right now to be able to communicate over a great distance kind of thing. However, there are also a lot of caveats that come with that, whether it's in terms of education or in terms of over commercialization or capitalism or I don't know, pick a thing. But we have a lot of examples of technology gone wrong in dystopian futures in a lot of the entertainment that we consume and that is available to consume. And there aren't a lot of examples of how it could go right and how it could work and how it could be positive. And as artists, one of the things that we want to do is create stories and give inspiration to the scientists and the innovators and the creators who will bring those technologies from ideas to life. So we started kind of going back and forth on some ideas that were sort of leaning into this idea of like set 10 years in the future. So something that is within reach, something that is we could reasonably conceive of being having developed by then. And a lot of what we were looking at the time were ideas around medical uses of technology, things that kind of are starting to be used now, but how they could flourish in the future. And some ideas about communication elements that we're using now, that how they could flourish in the future and be stronger. Some of it playing with AI. And right around a week of kind of brainstorming, Roe v. Wade was overturned. And I personally spent a day feeling absolutely horrified and mortified and afraid of the world. And then another day feeling really, really angry and like I wanted to burn everything down, which I'm sure a lot of other human beings felt all of those feelings in different ways and at different times after that ruling. And by the third day, I kind of thought, well, what if I take something that I'd been talking about since we all know there was that time between the Politico leak of what we thought was going to happen and then what actually happened, and many conversations that I had with friends about, well, if it was really about this, we would have this by now. If it was really about this, we would have this by now. And one of the things that I had said was, if it was really about life, then we would have artificial wombs by now. We would be able to freeze eggs and or freeze fetuses and remove them from a body and save them, preserve them until that person determined that they were ready to have that child, and be able to successfully put them back in and have that person, have that baby. And so here was this moment of kind of going, oh, I can write this story because I've been talking about it for the past 6 months. And now I feel really, the flames have been really stoked to do it. And so we kind of just started writing and had a general outline and got the story that we have. So we kind of talk, there's a couple different periods of time that we show in the film, and ways that we are thinking about showing them, or ways that they are written into the script, and then ways that I imagine them having that knowledge of what went into the writing, where we deal with a combination of the present time, as well as sort of flashbacks, memories that the parents have, and then separately videos from the past that are being shown in the present. And there are kind of different ways that we've written in how we would think about cutting that to kind of communicate to the audience, all right, like this is a flashback, this is a memory, as opposed to this is a video, or there's other little components to make it clear for the audience when they are and how that's coming across. So, and then all of it is set in the future from now. All of those times, the parents' past and the child's present are all not right now. I think the earliest year that we deal in is 2032. So it's all somewhat futuristic. So ways that I think about how to tell that or communicate that in a lot of ways go into the design, but I'll talk about it in kind of a couple of different components, because I think there's thinking about it visually. When I think about science fiction that I love, that I think is really good and really compelling, it's never about the robot. It's never about the alien. It's never about the thing that's other, that's different, that's new, that makes it interesting to me. It's the human story that's there. And the robot, alien, other thing just happens to exist in this world that we're witnessing. So something that I talked about with the production designer that we have on board was that when I think about these aspects of futuristic technology that exists in the space, I don't want it to be overwhelmingly present, because that's not really the future that I want to live in, because in 10 years, I will probably still be alive. You will probably still be alive. We'll be there for that. And a future that's kind of dominated by neon lights and smooth metallic surfaces, as much as it looks really cool, it doesn't really feel like something that I personally would choose to live full time in. And the story really takes place in a home. And I want it to feel like it's a home that's part of a world that's doing as well or a little bit better than the world that we're in right now. So a lot of that is just little hints and things of components of our world that, just wait for that truck to pass. But components of our world that sort of already find their way into our lives. Like I have who is hopefully not going to hear her name whenever I say it. But that's just that little aspect that exists in my life now that, 5 years ago kind of seemed like a very futuristic technology. But it's just this little thing that every now and then shines a blue light and glows. Sometimes it's a yellow light that blinks. A phone that lights up when someone calls me or texts me, etc. But just these little hints and aspects of ways that their lives have been made easier, or ways that the technology is just a little more present in their world, so that it's not dominating. And in the same way, the artificial womb itself is supposed to be something that looks like it fits into the space, not something that takes over the space with its presence. And a lot of kind of the importance of it is something that I, as the director, will be working with the actors about well, you know, it's not just that it's this box in the middle of the room, it's this box that has the child that, if it's the actor playing mom, you know, that this child that was in your body and is now in this box, but it's still just as important to you. And if it's the dad, you know, similar kind of thing, that it's not in her body anymore, it's here. And, you know, you have that same relationship to it, even though it's not inside a human body anymore. So that's kind of the general gist. And I think that a lot of the vibe is just hints of what make this world the future, as opposed to dominating the screen with things that say we're in the future. I'd rather it just like feel a little like the future, not like the far future. So we won in the category for production services, and this micro grant is going to go towards helping us secure a location, which is hugely important. The vast majority of the film itself actually takes place in one space. There's only a couple of other spaces that are included, and securing the one space, the home for the family, is huge, because that means that we can start thinking about how we're going to film in it, how we're going to add things to what's already there, you know, how we're going to place the furniture, how we're going to incorporate those little technological aspects, you know, what kind of lights we're going to use, what quality of lights we're going to use, what tone, the, you know, placement of practicals, just to make that home feel like somewhere that this, you know, middle-class family lives and has lived in for some time, that has all of these little components that are just part of their life. And, you know, the space is something that's so important and so powerful. Yeah. I don't know, there's a thing that I'm trying to think about if I want to talk about that I don't know if I do, because it's kind of a spoiler. But the space is important. I'll just say that. The space is important to the story and to the relationship that we have with, especially the mother. There's a couple different scenes in the space, or that are like in different parts of the space, but fundamentally it's all in the home. So that's what we would like to be able to have and lock in, is that much of the home, all of the rooms of that home. Let's say that, as I do think that it is actually, the world is a lot right now, and it is important to take care of yourself and, you know, hydrate and be aware of the air that you're breathing, and, you know, how you're treating yourself. And the reason that's on my mind is so much about this film is about pregnancy and being a parent in those very, very early stages of development. And so much of that is about the atmosphere that you create. And I think that's important to me, because that's the kind of parent that I want to be. And if I think about this film as my baby, which I do, because this is my directing debut for film, then those are the things that are important to me right now.